Okay, so you want to sell your home? Let me give you a quick little rundown of what that actually looks like. First, you give me a call. Then I run comps in a general manner, looking at homes that are very similar to yours that are on the market currently active and that are under contract and that are sold. This helps me give us an idea of what you could possibly sell your home for. Not only do I just look at those numbers, but I also speak to agents who have their homes on the market that are like yours so that we can get an idea of how their activity is going at the price point that they're at, any feedback that they've gotten. And this helps us to really nail a price that is perfect for you, because in today's market, this weird ass market, you can't overprice your home and expect to get it sold. Whereas before, people used to say, I'm gonna overprice it a little bit so we have some negotiation room. Right now, buyers are not wanting to pay high prices and high interest rates, so they are not actually looking at those homes that are higher priced. They're actually wanting those homes to be valued properly in order for them to want to make an offer. Why is it so important for you to price your home right in today's market? Well, let me tell you, I work with a lot of buyers, and I hear time and time again right now that buyers don't want to pay high prices, high interest rate, and have to move into a house to update, to paint, put in new flooring, and all of those things. So what's important is to make your house stand out above the rest. Give them the littlest list of things to do as possible. So I will walk through your house with you, and we'll create a punch list of things that will help your selling potential be greater than the rest. Yes, sometimes that list can be a little bit overwhelming, but like I said, I'm going through it like a buyer's agent. I'm pointing out every possible thing that I could see that could help the sale of your home. Now, I don't expect everybody to do all of the things on that punch list, but I hope that you can get to as much of it as you possibly can, what's feasible for you. And then that way we can go on the market and we price it appropriately based on how your condition of your home is, the upgrades that you have, and everything like that, because I want you to stand out above the rest. Once we've gone through the punch list and we're ready for photos, one thing I highly suggest is that you hide trash cans, hide soaps, get as little off of the counter as possible. Model homes don't have a lot of clutter and personal items anywhere, and that's why people can walk in and they can envision themselves living there, because it's captivating and people want to move into something that's clean. There's something in the brain that just relaxes when things are clean. So less is more, what I always tell everyone, but you want to have all the blinds open, you want to have fans on, you want to have the AC cool, because here in Arizona, what's better than walking into a cold house when you've been out in the heat, right? So you have it smell good. If you can put music on, I recommend putting music on, but you want to create a space that they walk into and they're just like, wow. Recently, I had a listing that we put on the market on a Monday and it sold in 6 days because she did everything I suggested. Okay, now you're on the market. What do showings look like? Well, typically I get a call, text, or an email from an agent and they're requesting a specific day and time. I will then contact you and ask you, hey, do you approve this showing? Because I will never allow an agent to show your house without your approval first. Typically those showings take 15 to 30 minutes on average. If they really like the home, I've seen it take longer, but that is the average amount of time that you are expected to be out of the house. It's always good to be gone from the house about 5 minutes prior to the showing in case they show up a little bit early. It always puts an extra little stressor to cross paths with the seller, generally. I've had a few times where a buyer and seller meet and it goes real swimmingly, but I always do recommend that you're gone prior to being there. And like I've mentioned before, you want to set the tone. You want to make the atmosphere amazing with it smelling good, it being nice and cool, have some music on, have it light and bright. Anything that you want to stand out, have it standing out, however you may do that. Once you come back to your house and you're wondering, what did these buyers think of my house? I have an automated questionnaire that goes out to these buyers agents, asking them what they felt about the price, what was their favorite thing about the house, how the overall experience was, and a few other questions. And if they don't answer those questions right away, I have it set on an automatic reminder to get sent back to them every single day. I also reach out to them in a text after a few hours, give them some time to get home and talk about it. Just asking directly, like, how did your client like the home? Can we get any feedback for you? Because I know as you're selling the house, it is just nerve-wracking wondering what people are thinking, if you're gonna get an offer. But in today's weird ass market, I'm telling you that we don't get feedback, but maybe 30 or 40% of the time. I think because buyers are afraid, they're not sure what they wanna do, and they don't wanna put out a stink that they don't like a home in case they might wanna come back. So I will reach out for that feedback. Okay, so you have an offer, what happens next? Well, either you sign on the dotted line, well, it's not dotted, but you sign on a contract and you are officially under contract at that moment. Or we have some negotiating to do, which is where I step in. Typically, I have a lot of conversation with the buyer's agent, so I know where I can push and where we need to be a little bit more lenient so that we don't push the buyer away. And this is a tough market on sellers right now, so we want to keep every buyer that we possibly can, as long as they're a good one. And I kind of do some vetting and make sure that like we're not just getting some wishy-washy buyer, but everything is in your best interest, and that's my goal. You negotiate back and forth, sign on the not dotted line, then we're under contract and we open escrow within 24 hours. Okay, you have an offer. What happens next? Well, within 24 hours, we send it to the title company that will be facilitating the deal. They open escrow and the buyer is to send in their earnest deposit within 24 hours. This deposit could end up in your hands if they do not stick to the contract, they don't meet their deadlines. If they back out, you get to keep that money. After that, one day after you receive your accepted contract, we are in a 10-day inspection period, unless negotiated a different amount of days, but standard, it's 10 days. And during that 10 days, they will schedule any inspections that they want to do. Typically a general home inspection where they do a once over of everything. Some buyers will do like a roof inspection, AC inspection, a pool inspection, a plumbing inspection, because they want to know what they're buying. They want to know how, like, does it look like I'm going to have a lot of repairs to do? It's not something that's offensive. It's really just so that they're being wise with their investment, so that, you know, who wants to not be wise with their investment? The BINSR is the document that they submit all of their repair requests on. It sometimes feels like a lengthy list, and a lot of times I find that sellers take it to heart. Don't take it to heart. Don't get offended. This is just a time where a buyer is looking out for themselves, and you are also looking out for yourself as well. But you and I will discuss what seems to be the most important, what feels feasible to you, and then we come back with a response. You have 5 days to look at their requests, get your own quotes, and decide what it is that you want to do. After you give your response on paper, then they have 5 days to decide, do they want to move forward or do they not? They may get additional information, prices and quotes on things to know exactly what it is that they want to commit to as well. If everyone agrees and we come to a meeting of the mind, then we move on to the appraisal period. And basically that's just waiting for the appraiser to come out to do an appraisal on your home. Now we're in the appraisal period. The appraisal has come back. If the appraisal comes back low, and especially in today's market, everyone expects the seller to come down to the appraisal price. No buyer wants to pay over value on a home, and if they are going to, that means they have to have cash in their pocket to give to make up that gap, because no lender is going to fill that gap if they don't feel that the value is there. If the appraisal comes in higher, typically the buyer's agent just says, hey, it appraised. They don't tell us how much it appraised for, because a lot of times they find out that actually pisses off the seller. But if it appraises, then we're done with that and we move on. And basically we're just waiting for either repairs to be done or just for us to get to the end of escrow. And it's a little bit more quieter and less stuff to do for the second half of the escrow. The title company that's facilitating the deal is making sure that there are no liens against your property, and if there are, that they're taken care of. And they're also sending the rules and regs out to the buyer for them to review as well. This is also the time when you want to start scheduling all of your utilities to be turned off for the day of closing. You want to do it ahead of time in case any of those companies are closed. You just don't want to wait till the last minute. Also, if you committed to any repairs, you want to make sure that you're doing that during this time, because the buyer is going to do a final walkthrough within 3 days of closing. They're going to ensure that the house is in the same condition as when they went under contract. There's no new damages or anything like that. And if you committed to repairs, they're going to make sure that they meet their satisfaction. And this is why I typically recommend that if you're going to commit to repairs, that you offer the buyer a credit. And that way there's no whining and moaning about the repairs not being done to their satisfaction. They get to do it on their own and deal with that after closing. After they give the title company the green light that their final walkthrough went well, the title company then packages up everything and they send it to county to record. On the day of closing, we don't have an exact time. It literally is kind of a first come, first serve. Once title gets all of that together and they send it over to county, they're just pushing buttons, and whatever number you are in that line, they'll record, and then we get the notice, hey, guess what? It's done. It's a done deal. It's recorded. And that's when you are no longer the owner of this home. You get the hell out of there and get moved on to your next home. If you guys have any other questions after that, I am always here for you. I have a lot of recommendations if you need any kind of repairs or updates to your home. I am here for life.